deliberately refuse to engage, and if you deliberately refuse to engage with a criminal case that CPS is trying to bring, that is tantamount to collapsing the case. It's very, very serious. And the Prime Minister is going to need to come to the House of Commons next week and explain himself. This is a matter of national security, and I think a lot of people will be very, very concerned at the way that the government is trying to blow a smokescreen over the whole thing.
Kemi Badenoch said only the Tory party can deliver the stronger economy and stronger borders that will give people a more prosperous future. Let's have a look at that claim. Liz Truss was the Prime Minister who triggered a spike in borrowing costs. The bank started to refer to that as the moron premium. Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister who recorded a record high in net migration of 764,000 in 2002. Won't a lot of the public hear Kemi Badenoch talking and just think you've got a bit of a cheek?
I think if they listen to what Kemi said today, what incidentally, Hugo, was one of the most exciting conference speeches I've ever heard. If the public listened to what she said today, there'd be no doubt that the Conservative Party is under new leadership, and the proposals that she's put forward are going to make a real difference to people's lives, both in terms of reducing immigration, but most importantly from today's speech, in getting our economy back on track from the absolute disaster that Rachel Reeves has made of it. So I think it was the sense of excitement in the hall was really palpable. I think it just shows that the Conservatives are back.
I mean, you say it's the disaster Rachel Reeves has made of it, and
yeah, absolutely.
Kemi Badenoch, she talks about the country being stuck in a doom loop, but that loop began when you were in government, did it not?
So I think that when we left power, obviously we didn't get everything right in power, and obviously that's one of the reasons why we lost the election. But since the election, we've seen the economy completely flatline. We have much higher inflation. We have stagflation, and we've seen unemployment rise by every single month since Labour have been in power. We're now borrowing huge amounts of money at record borrowing rates over the past 30 years. This is palpably Labour's failure, and somebody is going to have to come forward with clear plans to sort that out. The Conservative Party has been the first party to do so, and I think that I think the British public will appreciate just how necessary, important, and significant this is.
You're very keen to be trusted on the economy. Your party still contains Liz Truss, who she was in charge of the economy when the rot, if not set in, then certainly went terminal. She doesn't seem to feel guilty. She doesn't seem to feel sorry. Is she still a good advert in your party? Should she still be in your party?
She is a very long way from the leadership of the party. We have a new leader who is, as you've heard today, Hugo, coming out with very exciting and important policies that are going to appeal to people of all ages. The absolutely landmark decision to scrap stamp duty, which is going to work for everyone who aspires to own their own home. The decision to take money out of unnecessary public spending in order to balance the books. These things are going to make a real difference to people. So look, it's not about the personalities of yesteryear. It's about the real policies of today, and that's what Kemi was setting out in Manchester just now. You
mentioned the plan to abolish stamp duty, which was certainly striking towards the end of the speech. How much is that? How much is that going to cost?
So that's what we'd set out in the work that Mel Stride is just publishing. It's fully costed. We are making sure that we are not making any commitments where we haven't announced the savings.
Can you tell me the figure of how much it's going to cost?
No, I can't. I've just heard the announcement myself, Hugo. I don't want to say something that's that's incorrect on air. What I can tell you is that every penny that we're committing is fully funded. We've set out the cost that we would save. Kemi was talking about in the hall, how money will come out of welfare, how it will come out of international aid, and how it will, how that will help balance the books.
Well, I mean, I can tell you the figure of how much it's going to cost. It raised £18.3 billion in the last financial year. That's up from about £14 billion the year before. So that's money the government would not be getting. But
also, you'll have heard her say that we can make £47 billion worth of savings. So you can see that it's fully accounted for.
She says you're going to make £40 billion of savings, pay down the deficit, then reverse Labour's tax rises on private schools, farms, family businesses, scrap businesses on high street pubs and shops, and abolish stamp duty. I mean, she was attacking other party leaders for believing in a magic money tree. But if you can do all that without raising taxes, isn't it you who've discovered the magic money tree?
No, Hugo, but as we've just discussed, we've announced how we would find the savings. And that's the big difference between us and Reform, and indeed us and the Labour Party, both of whom are going to are relying, in the Labour's case, on very, very high borrowing at high interest rates. We're not going to do that.
I understand that, but stamp duty, £18.3 billion, that's not coming in. Business rates, they raised £25.1 billion in the last year. That's not coming in. And if spending is
this is all fully costed. It's not going to require increases in tax. Very much unlike the Labour Party, which is going to put up everyone's taxes in November. They're not even denying it anymore. I don't know if you were in Liverpool. I've been talking to a lot of journalists who were, and Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves flatly refusing to rule out tax rises. And when those tax rises come in, it will have a negative impact on growth in the economy. Again, it will have a negative impact on job creation, and things are just going to get worse. And I'm very fearful for how the nation's finances will pan out over the course of the next 3 years.
I understand that you say it's fully costed. Political parties always say their plans are fully costed. The numbers here, though, are so huge. Do you really think people are going to take them seriously?
Yep, I'm sure they will, because people can look them up on our website and see for themselves.
OK, look, moving to other matters. Kemi Badenoch says that Sir Keir Starmer deliberately collapsed the China spy trial because he wanted to suck up to China. Do you have the evidence that he did that? Because that's not really what the reporting said this morning.
So from what I saw in the papers this morning, the head of the CPS said that the government had refused to engage to the point which had caused the trial to collapse, or caused the case to collapse. That's incredibly serious. And a matter of national security...
It's not the same as deliberately collapsing it, which was her pretty clear accusation.
They deliberately refused to engage. And if you deliberately refuse to engage with a criminal case that CPS is trying to bring, that is tantamount to collapsing the case. It's very, very, very serious. And the Prime Minister is going to need to come to the House of Commons next week and explain himself. This is a matter of national security, and I think a lot of people will be very, very concerned at the way that the government is trying to blow a smokescreen over the whole thing.
Look, one more back on finances.
Yeah, sure.
Your Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride was asked at a conference event which taxes he might raise to plug a fiscal hole, and he said, speaking of Rachel Reeves, if I was in exactly her position and I had to deal with tax and I was down at the end of the spectrum where the black hole was really big, I would probably go for income tax. That's on the basis that VAT would be inflationary, and we've got a sticky inflation problem which is keeping interest rates higher for longer than we would otherwise be facing. I wouldn't want to be in that position, but it's the cleanest thing to do. Do you agree with the Shadow Chancellor that the Chancellor should increase income tax?
What the Chancellor should do is reverse some of the disastrous measures that she's brought in that are crushing growth in the economy and have caused a lot of people to lose their jobs. And what we saw today from Kemi was that we would make cost savings, something that Labour has shown itself totally incapable of doing, so that we can return money to the British people and get the country's finances under control.
So you don't agree with the Shadow Chancellor about what he thinks the Chancellor should do?
I agree with what Kemi, the Leader of the Opposition, just said in the hall right now.
Alex Burghart, Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, thank you very much.